morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. I hope you all are having a great day so far, and I hope you continue to have a wonderful day. We're going to start off with the Bible again this morning, and before we get started, I want us to review our Bible verses for the week. So we learned Proverbs 3:5 last week, and we're learning Proverbs 3:6 this week. So let's see if we can take both of them and put them together. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. And verse 6 says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. Good job. Let's see if we can do it one more time. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. Good job, everybody. Now, we're going to talk about another miracle that Jesus performed. We've talked about how Jesus called the disciples, and he had 12 disciples. We've talked about how Jesus was able to help the man who had leprosy. Remember, those were spots all over your body, and they hurt, and they were very contagious, which means other people could get them. And it's not something we have to worry about now. But in the Bible, in those times, there were a lot of people who had it. And he couldn't be with his family or with his friends. And Jesus touched him. And he wasn't supposed to touch him. But remember, he's God's son. So he touched him and healed him. And he told him not to tell anybody. But did he listen? No, he didn't listen. But it wasn't because he was trying to disobey. He was so excited. If God had cured you from being sick, you would want to tell everyone too. So he did. And remember, those Pharisees, they were the ones who were all about the laws, and they weren't too happy with that. We had talked about some other miracles that Jesus performed, especially, remember those 4 friends who helped lower their friend down through a roof so that Jesus could heal him because he couldn't walk. And he ended up getting up and walking right out of that house that day because Jesus is that amazing. He's God's son, and he is able to do amazing things. So today we're going to talk about another amazing thing that Jesus did. This is found in Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 through 27. If you want to read that with your mom and dad at some point today, that would be awesome. So this is Jesus and his disciples. They had been out, and Jesus had been preaching all day, and they needed to get away from the crowd and go off on their own. So they got into a boat, and they went out on the sea. And it says that suddenly a big storm started happening, and the waves were rolling, and the boat was rocking back and forth and back and forth. And I'm sure that there was rain and thunder and lightning. And if you've ever been on a boat and the water's not very smooth, you know that it's not a very fun ride. So all of this is happening, and the disciples started to be afraid, and they were saying, Jesus, help us. And do you know what Jesus was doing? Jesus was sleeping in the back of the boat. He was tired, so he was taking a nap. Now, does that mean that Jesus didn't care about the storm? No, he cared, but was he worried? He wasn't worried. Because who is in control of all things? God is. You're right. So if God is in control of all things and Jesus is God's son, would he be worried about anything? No, he wouldn't. So the disciples were scared, and they didn't know what to do, and they were crying out for Jesus to help them, and Jesus was, and they said, Jesus, you need to wake up. The storm is rolling and the waves are crashing and there's lightning and thunder and rain and I don't know what to do. We're all going to be in so much trouble on this boat. I got too excited. I about knocked my camera down. And Jesus woke up and he did not show any fear. And he wasn't mad at the disciples for waking him up or anything like that, but he woke up and all he had to say was, peace be still. And when he said those words, the waves stopped. The rain stopped. There was no thunder and there was no lightning and everything was calm. And that's what Jesus did. He was able to stop this big storm from happening right in its tracks. And guess what? That's what Jesus can do for us too. Sometimes our hearts or our minds or our emotions feel big and strong and they're rocking us back and forth and we don't know what to do because everything is so overwhelming. But guess what? All we have to do is call on Jesus, just like the disciples did. And he can say, peace, be still. He can calm our heart and our mind and our emotions if we trust in him. It says that after Jesus said, peace, be still, and everything calmed, the disciples sat in awe. That means that they were amazed at what Jesus did. And they said, what kind of man is this that even the winds and the seas would obey him? So today I want you to think about all of the things that may go at home or in your own life or at school or wherever you are. Even if it seems like a crazy day or even if it's raining outside, Jesus can take care of it all in his own time and in his own way. All we have to do is trust in him. So I hope today that is stuck in your brain and in your heart, and that we can trust in Jesus to give us peace. Have a good day today, and don't forget to take prayer requests with your family and pray with them today.